Me to record. Welcome. You made it. You carved out space. You carved out time. If you are here for communicating better, resolving conflict easier, and lessening misunderstanding with the life lenses with me and Reagan, you're in the right place. And I'm so delighted that you're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I don't know if you know, but we're counting down to 10 years of the Learning and Development Roundtable. 10 years. So to Learning and Development Roundtable members, I'm sending out weekly kind of countdowns and little bonuses and treats and things like that. So keep track of those messages coming your way. And I'll tell you, if you're not, I'll also let you know how you can join in a little bit. So a little bit about me before I ask more about you. Let me know in that which of these things are you interested in more about? So which of these things are you interested in knowing more about? Number one, lists, bliss, brain. Number two, go kid. Number three, stop kid. Number four, dating your colleagues. It's not what you think. And 5, online dream. So put a number. So Freshu is saying 5. And by the way, if I mispronounce your name, please do send me a direct message or a message and let me know the correct pronunciation. Okay, so we've got 5 and 1, other 5s, 2 and 3. Okay, so I'll do 5. Where's my pen here? 5. I'll do 5, 2, and 3. Okay, so 5. Oh my goodness. So I have had a dream of having an online asynchronous course, meaning a course that you can take anytime you want. It's not live. And I've had that dream for 20 years and I've just launched it. So I'm giving chances to Learning and Development members to win a free course. It's called Ban Boring Online Meetings. So that I'm finally achieving that dream. I'm so excited. And number 2, Go Kid. So today we're going to be talking about the life lenses, and hopefully some of you got a chance to do your life lenses with the link that I sent you. And if you didn't, don't worry, you can always go back and do that later. That link will work. So I have 2 kids who are 25, and one of them is an extreme go kid. So I could say, we're going to go parachuting over the Okavango, area of Botswana, and he would say, "Oh, can we just go today?" Like he absolutely jumps in with both feet in his life. And then number 3, so I have a stop kid as well. So his first inclination, and by the way, today will be all about explaining more what I mean by go and stop lenses. So my stop kid, his first inclination is to hit the brake. So he will observe and watch and think. He's incredibly observant. So the 2 of them together are part of the reason why I designed life lenses so many years ago. So hi, Diana. Lovely to have you here. Okay, and let me know in the chat, is first time that we're meeting, or have you been to other roundtables? Let me know in the chat. And your future self, because this is recorded, so know to members that they'll get recording. You can think about if this is your first roundtable or if you've been to other ones. Let me know in the Claudia, it's your first time. Oh, your first time. Lots of first timers. Ahmed, welcome. Nang. Theodosa, it's your second. Welcome, welcome. Christina, first time. Kumiko, first time. Great. Elspita, Frishu saying done some roundtables and a class. It's nice to have you back, Krishu. Welcome. And Camille, second time. Great. Well, if this is your first or your 10th or whatever, I'm really glad that you're here. Just a little bit more about me before we dive in, and I hear a little bit more about you. Know that I tend to work in 3 different kind of channels, if you will. So one of them is what I call working together. I'm just going to ask you to keep yourselves muted if you don't mind, but if you have a question, you can jump in anytime. So do make sure that you're muted. So one of the things I do is I do a lot of team building with clients, and I work on change management and culture, conflict resolution, communication, creativity, all sorts of things like that. Then I also do a lot of digital engagement work. So I help clients get on top of technology, that their tech tools, and have the tech tools serve them and not be so overwhelmed. And then I also work with subject matter experts who need to design and deliver really powerful, engaging learning. So that's a little bit about me. And I would love to hear a little bit about you. So let me know in the chat. Feel free to finish this sentence. When it comes to conflict, there are two kinds of people, blank and blank. So when it comes to conflict, there's two kinds of people, blank and blank. What do you think? Okay. I've had someone correct me on the order of their name. Thank you. Thank you, Celine. Welcome for your first time. Carlotta, it's your first time. Great. Theodosia, there are people that face conflict and avoid conflict. Lovely. Christina, there's people that avoid and confront conflict. Anyone else? When there comes to conflict, so Elzabita, when it comes to conflict, there are two types of people, defensive and engaging. Oh, that's good. That's good. Jyoti, it's your first time. Lovely. Nang, fight, flight. Lovely. And Maurizio, flee, flight, or submit. Oh, I can see that someone's DMing me needs to leave a few minutes early. No worries, as long as you're a member, you get access to the workbook, the audio recording, video recording, and I'll tell you more about that just before break, how you do that. Oh, Carlotta, so I'm just asking, you had to divide people into two types when you think about conflict. How would you, when it comes to conflict, there are these kinds of people and these kinds of people. I'm not saying people who engage. Judy's saying irrational or rational. Yeah, these are all great. They're all great. Okay. And also, as you're just sinking into today, sinking into our time, hopefully patting yourself on the back for making it here, carving out time. Where in the world does this find you? Let me know in the chat. Jyotsna saying there's tactics to resolve. Yeah, so people maybe who have tactics, maybe and don't have tactics. Carlotta, peaceful and aggressive. Nice. So let me know, where are you? I'm coming to you from very chilly, well, for Nairobi standards, very chilly Nairobi. So we've also, so Claudia's saying, let those, that's great. There's, when it comes to conflict, there's people who listen and there's people who pretend to listen. Oh, my sister-in-law just sent me this really great TED Talk on 10 ways to really engage in conversations. I'm going to write a blog post about that. Diana saying impulsive and careful. Oh, lovely. And Joyati saying, the people who can't understand others' perspectives, right? There's people who come like, I'm right, I'm coming only from my perspective, and potentially there's people who are inquiring and want to know what it's like from other people's perspective. Lovely. Okay. Juan is just coming in. And where are you? In the world, where are you? And by the way, someone's coming in, their screen name is looks like a phone number. If you want to get credit, UN credit for this workshop, you'll need to just change your screen name. And then I send all that information to UNON. So, and if you're not a UN staff person, and you don't need to get credit, don't worry about changing your screen name. But person 41. Oh, hi.
I'm so sorry. I needed to connect it via the telephone, but now I'm connected right now to the Zoom. It's me, Juan Caicedo from Switzerland. Thank you so much, and I apologize for these IT issues.
No worries. You're here. You made it. So I've made a note, and I can add that to the data that I send to UNON. Okay. So we have people in, let's see, Entebbe, Brussels. Kathy's saying, oh, that's a great word, irascible. Isn't that right? That's such a great word, Kathy. Or emotionally intelligent. Yeah. We have Karina's in Zimbabwe. Oh, that's where I went on my honeymoon many, many years ago. And let's see, where else? Kathy's in Amman, Kumiko's in Athens, Nang is in Myanmar. Adelaide is in Kenya, like myself. Maria's in Bonn. We have Claudia in Paris. Ahmed is also in Nairobi. Christina's in Kenya. Judy, South Sudan. Eric, Vienna. Quatrula, Afghanistan. We've got Florence in Geneva. Charles in Kenya. Let's just take a moment to be grateful for the technology that makes this possible. I know that technology can drive people mad, but it's still a little bit magical to me that we can make this happen and gather. So thank you for carving out time. Okay, every roundtable I seek your feedback, and a couple people are like, oh, Leanne, can you dive into the content faster? So I'm going to keep this introduction short, and just a couple things to keep in mind. As you are doing, please feel free to participate. One of the real gifts of these roundtables is that there's so much wisdom in the room. So please offer your insights, your questions, your comments, your tools, strategies, techniques. Please share those with us. And also, you may have ways to curate or record or remember your learning. And if you don't, or you want to try a new technique, each roundtable I share a different kind of worksheet. This one is called my Quite worksheet. So if you download it, it has to be downloaded. It then becomes editable. And that's a way for you to help reflect and curate and remember what you're learning. So feel free to use that if you wish. And then if you do want to get the resources, the PowerPoint, the audio recording, the workbook, the video recording, you do need to be a member. And I'll give you that link just before break. And then finally, in the prep emails, I did ask you, just a reminder, you're going to need some paper, some tape, a Kleenex or a tissue, and a pen. So make sure you have those on hand. Okay, can I get a thumbs up? Are you ready to dive into our content today? I sent you the agenda ahead of time. If you sign up by the Wednesday, then you get the agenda ahead of time. If you signed up last minute, then maybe not. But are we good to go? We got some thumbs up. Great. Okay. So I'm going to explain all the different 8 life lenses, and then we'll look at, I'll ask you to think which ones apply to you. And you'll know that if you've taken the assessment. And if you didn't have time, again, you can do that later, no problem. So we're going to look at, where do you shine? Where are your strengths? What comes onto your radar easily, naturally, and comfortably? And what flies under your radar because you might see it as not important, awkward, or foreign, and then how to really add to your toolkits by exploring those other perspectives that aren't naturally the perspectives on your radar. We'll look at the temptation that we all have. It's very, very human to believe that our perspective is the best, especially when we're under stressed, overwhelmed, anxious, etc. And I'll give you some tools to kind of shift your perspective. And then finally, if you are a UN staff, you can get credit towards your UN mandated training. You just need to sign the attendance sheet, and then that will count towards your UN mandated credit training. And I'll give you that link at break and also at the end of the workshop today. Okay, so let's dive in. This is an introduction to life lenses. It's a tool that I've designed. I should know this date. I've been using it like 25 years, I think I designed it ago. So I want to kick off with this first short video. So here we go. Oh, I've got someone that they can't. Oh, no sound. Okay, hang on here. Let me see. Let me fix this. Thank you for letting me know. I'll get it fixed in just 2 seconds here. Thank you for your patience. Okay, this should work now. Okay, here we go.
Остановка, улица Нартова.
Нельзя, потому что двигает.
Осторожно, двери закрываются. Следующая остановка, улица Заярская. Уважаемые пассажиры, будьте взаимно вежливы. Уступайте места инвалидам, пожилым людям, пассажирам с детьми. Соблюдайте в салоне троллейбуса чистоту и порядок.
Okay, so that video goes on for another 2 minutes. Any guesses what happens? So the video goes on for another 2 minutes. How do you think it ends? Any guesses? Selena's saying nothing. One of them gets off. Good guess. One of them does not get off. They both stay on the bus. The video see the glass breaks and 2 people cut their hands. Hopefully they talk about it, says Kathy. Ahmed says one of them gives up. Juan says the window breaks. Joyton says that switch seats. Carlotta saying the person who's recording the video stands up and helps them. Ah, this is so good. This is so good. Ingrid, they hi, great. Oh, it's so nice to have you here. They get a physical fight. They both start quarreling, says Kumiko. Fighting, says Judicial. Camille, a third person engages conversation with both. None, those are all great suggestions for moving forward, except hopefully they don't have a physical fight. Would you be surprised to say that they continue doing the same thing? They continue doing exactly the same thing for more than 2 minutes more, right? More than two more minutes. So they're very, very, very entrenched in their conflict, right? They're not, I mean, the window may be moving, but they're not moving. And that's how conflict can be sometimes in communication. We get in these ruts, we get entrenched, we just say the same thing over and over, we try the same tactic over and over. So today, my goal is to show you where you shine, the 4 lenses of the 8 that you identify with, and the strengths of those lenses, and then to take advantage of the 4 lenses that are not your self-assessed lenses and what the benefits of those lenses are. Okay, so as we go through this introduction, I'll introduce overall the life lenses, and then we'll get into each of the pairs. There are 4 pairs. I would like to ask you how much liquid is in this cup? How much liquid is in this cup? Let me know in the chat. So Joytsna is saying it's half full. Yeah, correct. Any other answers? Lots of people are saying, oh, interesting. So Kojula is saying half. Puran is saying 50% full. Ingrid is saying a third of the glass. Okay, good. Half empty, 45%. Oh, Veronica is saying there's water in half of the glass. So very specific. Okay. So usually when people talk about this, they're either in one of 2 camps. It's half full or it's half empty. Maurizio's saying maybe it's not even a cup. That's great. So yeah, today is all about alternative ways of seeing the same thing. So I love this little meme. Like technically it's 100% full because it's potentially half water and half air. So this is all about seeing things in a different way. Carlotta's saying, oh, we still have enough space to fill it. That's nice. That's great. That's great. And then just on a humorous note, this potentially is ways that different people see it. You know, the optimist sees it as half full. The pessimist sees it as half empty. The realist says it's a glass of water, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I like the surrealist one. And the artist also sees it with a paint glass in there, or paintbrush rather. So today I'm really hoping to expand how you see things, to really give you some really simple tools to communicate better with some more ease and to resolve conflict with some more tools and some more ease. Okay, another question for you, and I'll answer this at the end of the workshop. But in our Life Lenses introduction, is it better to breathe in or breathe out? Is it better to breathe in or breathe out? Joytson likes the half air concept, which makes it 100% full. Nice. Carlotta's, to breathe in is to breathe out then. Okay, Theodosia is saying both. Ingrid's saying both. Both options are fine, both. Okay, nice. Both are absolutely, Diana. Oh, Diana, nice to have you here. Both are equally important, both. Okay, so I'm going to give you another perspective at the end of the workshop today that might surprise you about your breathing in and breathing out. And when I learned this, I like, oof, that's so perfect for Life Lenses. Okay, so we'll leave that, that piece of information to the end. But for now, my goal with the Life Lenses, when you're learning about them, you can use them for all sorts of things. So I use them to manage conflict when I'm having some issues with communication. You can use them to manage change. You can use them to plan events. I've done strategy sessions with clients using the lenses, evaluating programs. I use them all the time in parenting. So there's lots of different ways that you can use them. Abira is saying, in is needed to be kept for a while before releasing it. Absolutely. Maurizio saying beating in or out are useless unless both are done. Yes, very good point. Yes, you need both for sure. The value comes in the pair for sure. Okay, so those of you, let me know in the chat how many people took the assessment. Let me know if you had time and you have your results with you. Just say yes or no. Great, Abir did it. Okay. And again, if you didn't, that's totally fine. You can go back and do it again. There was a question mark there I saw. So in the when I sent you, when you registered, you would have received an email with a link to take the assessment. So if you haven't done it yet, you can go back and do it. And one of the things that you'll learn when you take your assessment, and it doesn't matter which Life Lenses it is, but some of you might have assessed as tweeners, and some of you might have assessed as extremers. So tweeners, and this is on page 8 of your report, tweeners means that you got an 8 or a 9 out of the 15, and extremers you got 14 or 15 out of the 15. Oh, Joe, so you had some. It kept freezing. Okay, so let me know, maybe log out and then log back in. And if you continue to have issues, send me an email and we'll get you sorted. So do you want the good news or the bad news about tweeners first? Do you want the good news or the bad news about tweeners first? Nomsa, I'll share that link. All anyone who's a member of the Roundtable will get all of the resources after the Roundtable. So just make sure that you have signed up and you'll get that link again. Do you want somebody? Okay, I heard bad first. Okay, so if you're a tweener, the bad news about the tweeners is that you don't have the strengths of that lens really exaggerated. The strengths of that particular lens that you're a tweener on, it are not super strong. The good news about being a tweener, if you imagine being on a continuum, When you're a tweener, you're almost in the very middle. So the other lens is not very unfamiliar to you. It just would have taken answering a question, one or two questions differently. And that other lens is very, very close to you. So while you don't have the extreme strengths of that lens, you don't have the extreme weaknesses of the lens either, because every lens has its good day and its bad day. And the opposite lens is quite familiar to you, because one or two steps along that continuum and you'd be into that other lens. Okay, now with the extremers, so the extremers are here. Oh, I can't really see that, hang on. So the extremers are at one end or the other of the two lenses. So the bad news, if you're an extremer, is you really have the weaknesses of that lens. It's quite pronounced. And the, pardon me, the good news is you really have the strengths of that lens. They're very exaggerated. And some of you might be an extremer on one pair, a tweener on the other, and then not an extremer or a tweener for the other two. So you can mix and match those depending on your answers. Okay, so that's extremers and tweeners. Also, and I'm going to say this a lot, we tend to see the positive, the strengths, the benefits about whatever lenses we are, and the negative, the downside, the weaknesses to our opposite lens. And today, I really want you to discover all of those treasures right under your nose by flipping that perspective and seeing, okay, what are the downsides to my particular lenses, and how can I look to colleagues, friends, family members, etc., that have the opposite lens that I do, and take advantage of those strengths. So we really want to try to flip that, and know that it's hardest to flip that perspective when we're stressed, anxious, we don't have very much time, we're exhausted, we're burnt out, whatever. We get really, really rooted to our position. So today, gently, I'm going to extend an invitation to move up and down that continuum and see what does that view look like from that other lens. And the research bears this out. I love, this is from a book called Smarter, Faster, Better, The Secrets of Being Productive, which is not a great title. I think the book is much better than that. It sounds very, driven. Fantastic book if you are interested. And he talks about, Charles Duhigg talks about, once a participant grabbed onto a frame, they found it hard to envision the choice in a different way. So once we see things in a particular way, it can be hard to flip that vision. And that's where the lenses come in. They're a really handy tool to, okay, I'm looking at it through this lens. Let's see what it looks like through this lens. Okay, and probably lots of you have taken other assessments, and our the best, most current research on these kinds of assessments is to really look at them as a continuum and not a box. So you are a complicated, complex human being, and of course, there's many ways to look at human behavior. Beyond 8 different lenses. So these are, think of this as a frame on the ground that you can step into and you can step out of, or a continuum that you can move up and down on. So you're in charge, you get to decide which of these frames fit you best. You get to decide when you flip the frame. I don't want you to feel buttonholed. I'm just going to mute you there. You've got some background noise, but if I mute anyone and you're about to ask a question, just let me know, please. Happy to have questions in the chat or unmute and ask anytime. So what I don't want it to feel like is this constricted, you're in a box and you can't get out of that box. That is the opposite of the design of the lenses. And of course, Harriet Lerner, who's written some really great, lovely work, I like her quote, "A yin-yang psychology of opposites doesn't do justice to the complexity of human experience." So these are guides, these are suggestions, these are when you're stuck in a situation, you're having trouble communicating correctly, you're having trouble with conflict. These are just different ways to see things. They're not meant to pigeonhole you. One, I wonder if the training will help us use bifocal lenses. Oh, I could go off on that. I have trifocals, and that's why I wear these reading glasses, because trifocals makes me go like this when I'm on a call, because I'm trying to look at the bottom there. Hi, Ulf. Thanks for joining. Welcome, welcome. Okay. When I go, maybe this is sharing too much information. When I got my first trifocals, I was outside. I was with one of my kids who was quite young, and I was like, "Oh, I can see, I can see." And he's like, "Mom, stop doing that. You look like you're high." So, anyways, okay. So it is building time. So I am going to ask you to grab your scrap pieces of paper and your tape. And if you haven't done that, just quickly go and get those now. And if you're able to, I'm going to invite you to turn on your cameras, because I would love to see what you're doing. So grab your paper and your tape and turn on your cameras. And I'm going to give you, so basically I'm going to do an exercise to introduce each pair of the lenses. And then we'll go, hi, Eric. Hi, great. Nice to see you. Hi, Felicia. Hi, Rose. Okay, so I'm going to give you a task. It might seem, hi, Diana. Hi, Christina. It might seem a little unusual, but I promise everything will come together. So this is a way of introducing the first pair of the lenses. So I invite you to build something as tall as you can make it that is self-supporting. Okay, so build something as tall as you can make it that is self-supporting, and you have 5 minutes to do that. So I'm going to put the timer on. Okay, and hopefully you have your paper and your tape, and I'll cue you. I'll let you know when your time is up, and I'll also put the instructions in the chat. I'm going to pause the recording. Hello, future self. We're just going to pause the recording. We'll come back. Recording. Okay, so if you're able to, and I know this is difficult, but if you're able to, let us see your structure and see how everyone's is really different. Karina, that's so great. Love that. Ukamako, yeah, again, it looks like it's going to take off there. Awesome. Okay, so I am going to bring us back to the deck here, and I'm going to show you how you were leaking your lenses. Okay, so if you know, some of you I know didn't get a chance to do the assessment, but if you know that you self-assessed as a carrot, let me know in the chat if you self-assessed as a carrot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to explain the first pair of the lenses, and then we'll tie it into the exercise that you just did. So Christina's a carrot. Great. Let me know in the chat. Do we have any other carrots? So each lens has a color. So carrots are orange for self-evident reasons. And each lens has a direction that it looks. So carrots look down. That is their first inclination. So Ulf is not a carrot. Ulf is a mountain. I'm not surprised by your comment. You leaked your lens there. So, and every lens, remember, you can be a tweener, you can be an extremer, or neither of those two. And every lens has its good day and its bad day. So carrots on a good day, oof, details, 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 details. They love details. Carrots will ask a lot of detailed questions. Do I use one? Can I use more than one piece of paper? Can I use other things? When I do this in person, I'll have pins and straws for people to work with. Leanne, do other people have the same number of pins? Do they have, there's different kinds of straws here. Does everyone have the same? How much time do we have? Some carrots will draw things on a piece of paper before touching the supplies. They're very organized. They're very good finishers. They like to finish tasks, and they speak in specifics. On a bad day, a carrot can't see the forest for the trees, or it's not that they can't do it. It's just because they tend to look down, those bigger things up here don't come onto their radar as much. And on a bad day, they can be focused on trivial or unimportant things. So one day I was doing a date stamp proposal, and we had to physically hand this proposal in to the funder, and we didn't know if we were going to make it. So we were under stress, under time pressure, under the gun, and I stapled the proposal together, and my boss freaked out. She got upset at me. This was a carrot on a bad day. Can you think why she got upset? So a carrot on a bad day can focus on trivial or unimportant things and not be strategic, not see the forest for the trees. Any idea why she would have been upset? The staple was not in the right place, says Eric. Yes, that is right. What do you think what did she see as the correct place? Remember, a carrot under stress can focus on trivial or unimportant things. So what was wrong? Can you think of how she wanted the staple to appear? Any guesses? It should be straight in the top left corner. Eric, are you a carrot? Yeah, so she, in her world, she thought that the staple should be, what do you call, parallel to the top. Like I put it at an angle and she wanted it lined up parallel to the top of the page. Now, I once had an engineer jump in and talk about tensile strength. And I'm like, that is such a good example of a carrot, right? Details, details, details. So a couple of sayings for carrots that encompass their worldview is success in any endeavor requires single-minded attention to detail and total concentration. Or God is in the details, right? To this day, now pay attention to your reaction to what I'm about to tell you. Is it positive or negative? To this day, my mother still alphabetizes her spices, right? So does that leave you with a positive feeling or a negative feeling? Does that feel like, oh, too many rules, too much detail, or like, oh, that's a good idea? When we were growing up, my mom, we had what we call bulk food. So you'd go to the store and you'd buy these things and then you'd transfer the food into a container. So she had the containers labeled, here's white flour, here's whole wheat flour, here's brown sugar, white sugar. She also labeled the cupboard where those containers went, right? That's an extremer carrot, right? If you open up the closet of a carrot, especially an extremer carrot, you might see, here's the dress pants, here's the casual pants, here's the dress shirts, here's the casual shirts. There'll be some kind of detail in there. Or you open their drawer in their desk, here's where all the stickies are, maybe organized by size or color. Here's the pens, here's the pencils, here's the, very detailed. Elizabeth is saying negative, no need. Yeah. Oh, if my dad does that, can't stand it. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I had an extremer brother and an extremer carrot mother, and he never, ever, ever put those things where she thought was the right place. Diana, micromanager. Maurizio, it makes sense. You can easily find the spice you're looking for. So Maurizio, that's a carrot view, right? If it feels too detailed, too constricted, that's the view of a mountain. So the benefit of a carrot, for example, if you say to a carrot, oh, I've been looking for that report from, 1999 or whatever. They're like, boom, boom, boom. Here it is right here, right? They revel in the details. Maurizio, what if your home is bilingual and the spouse can't agree which language to, oh, that's extremer carrot. Oh, I'm going to use that. That is so good. Thank you for sharing that, Maurizio. Yeah, so if you have two carrots, right, that's assuming that your partner is also a carrot. Christine is saying, organization gives me the peace and base to focus on other things. Yes, that's a carrot speaking. So a carrot, so Alpha saying, does a carrot mean a perfectionist? So that could be a carrot on a bad day. Like, oh, did you filed this piece of paper in the light purple colored file? It should be in the dark purple colored file, right? So when the details get blown out of it's the detail for the detail's sake, and it's not helping anything. That can be the downside of a carrot. Yeah. Jetson saying it makes sense, especially with different kinds of flowers, because they all look identical. Yeah, yeah. And not so much sense making to a mountain. Like, oh, I'm not going to take that much time. I'll figure it out when I need to pick the flower. I'll figure it out then. Okay, so those are our carrots. And on the other side of the continuum are our mountains. So whereas carrots look down, mountains look up, right? Their natural tendency is to look up. So they're really good at the vision, the big picture. They're good at strategy. They're good starters. They speak in concepts, right? Carrots speak very specifically. They speak in concepts. On a bad day, they don't see the trees for the forest, right? They don't see the trees for the forest. Oh, Christina, we were supposed to meet at 3 o'clock yesterday. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I thought it was 5 o'clock tomorrow, right? Because they're so busy looking up. That's their gift, that sometimes the details are hard for them. They can miss critical details, and they can make unfounded generalizations because they're so good. They're on that mountain. They can see across valley over valley over valley. Sometimes those concepts, that vision that they're knitting together, doesn't have the detail to support it. So they can make unfounded generalizations. Some sayings for a mountain: don't sweat the small stuff, go big or go home. If the vision is there, the means will follow. And the last one time I was doing this workshop and I said, God is in the details. And someone yelled out, the devil is in the details. So I added that here. Someone has to head off to a meeting. If you do have to leave, as long as you're a member, you'll get all of these resources. And I'll tell you just before we break how you do that. Okay, so how do you relate to the mountains? Any comments there about mountains? Big pictures, strategists, great at starting things. Anyone else? I am married to the Mount Everest of extremer mountains. He can pull together strategy, like he just seems to do it in his sleep. He's so good at that. And sometimes he could go an entire day with his shirt on, his buttoned up shirt on, inside out, and not notice, right? Which would be impossible for a carrot. Okay, let's go back to your building. So the instructions were: make something as tall as possible that is freestanding. Which one of those instructions appealed to mountain and which one appealed to carrot? So which appealed to mountain and which appealed to carrot? What do you think? Yes, Elizabeth. So make it as tall as possible was literally the mountain, and the freestanding, the support, the stability, the base is the carrot. Absolutely. So if I'm doing this in person, sometimes because I count you down, I'm trying to add gently add a little bit of stress. Remember that carrots are good finishers and mountains are good starters. So one source of conflict at the end of that exercise is mountains are trying to go higher, higher, higher at the very last minute, and carrots are like, stop, don't touch it, step away. Also, mountains typically are the ones, not always, but usually are the ones who are, well, can I go out the window? Can I hang this from the ceiling? Can I put the pieces of paper end to end and then you look at it lying down? I once had a team of people. It's like, oh, please don't get hurt. And what they did, this was right before they were going to have dinner. And so there was tables set with cutlery and there was butter. There was a container of butter in the middle of the tables. They put a chair on the table with someone standing on the chair with the powdered butter on his head with one straw sticking out of the butter. Now, how do you think the carrots reacted to that? How do you think the carrots reacted to them doing that? Any guesses? Did they like it? Did they not like it? Any guesses? Claudia, the butter is never going to be self-standing unless the person holds it. Okay. So that's a very detailed view, Claudia. That's a carrot perspective. Yes, Maria, they did not like it. The carrots were trying to get my attention, like, they're cheating, they're cheating, they're cheating, right? But the mountains are like, big picture strategy. Let's do this in a different way. Theodosia saying, went back to the rules to see which of them mentioned they could do so. Yes. And you notice some of you in the exercise, can I use something else? Can you repeat the exercise or the instructions? Can I use other things? Yes, Elizabeth, they would have seen it against the rules. And Celine, yes, they would ask if it was within the rules. And I don't say anything, right? I say these are the two instructions and let people interpret them. So the carrots get frustrated. Kumiko saying, but I think a person can have two aspects of carrot and mountain. Absolutely. Remember, this is a continuum, so you can move up and down this continuum. Also, you may be such a great question. I usually get this later in the workshop. So you might be in a mountaintop job and your personality is more carrot, or you might be in a carrot family and your own individual personality is more mountain. So yes, this is not meant to pigeonhole you, and you can move up and down. Generally speaking, the tweeners, the ones who picked the ones almost in the middle, initially they have an easier time moving because they're so close to that other lens. So it's a little easier for them to move around. The extremers, the ones on the very ends of the continuum, it can be a little harder for them to shift. But yes, absolutely. Ulf, my structure fell at some point, but that was not disallowed. And I built it back before the time ended. I fixed the stuff with the help of the ceiling. Yes. So the ceiling, that's definitely a mountain, right? Carrots tend to not do that so much. Maria, yes, I'm actually feel a mix of both. If you're called to that, if you feel like you're a mix, you're probably not an extremer. It's very rare that an extremer will say, I'm a mix of both. Not unheard of, but it's quite rare. Greet saying, oh, is this nature or nurture generated? I think it's both. I think, there's been some really interesting research around introverts and extroverts, and you can measure baby saliva and how they react to external stimulus. So I think we come into the world with particular temperaments, and then also the world shapes us, right? Like, does your family, you could probably answer this. Does your family emphasize carrot or does it emphasize mountain? Does your team, does your organizational culture, does your job, does it emphasize mountain or carrot? And do those match what feels right, normal, and natural for you? Great questions. Great questions. Okay. So the implications for communication and conflict resolution is, number one, find out where your strength lies. Where does the light shine on your radar? What are your natural gifts? You really don't have to think about it too much because you're naturally a mountain or you're naturally a carrot. And then look to the other side. Look to the other lens for their gifts, right? So I mentioned we tend to emphasize the positive of our lens and the negative of the other lens. And I'll give you some translation tips later on, but just to give you an example, if I'm an extreme or mountain, then I will have the self-awareness that I tend to speak in concepts, right? And not be so detailed. If I know I'm speaking to a carrot, I may need to get more specific, and vice versa, right? If a carrot is talking to an extreme or mountain, I may not wish to introduce a filing system. I'm going to exaggerate here just for the sake of making a point, that has 52 steps for the filing, right? Just mountains, it just won't resonate with them. Okay, are you ready to switch to the second set of lenses? Let me know, give me a thumbs up. We're about 5 minutes before the top of the hour, so with your permission, we'll do one more set of lenses and then we'll take a break. Okay, I've got a couple thumbs up there. Okay, so again, I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to get you to do an exercise that will pull out another pair of lenses of you, and then I'll explain those lenses and then we'll bring it back to the exercise. Okay, so I asked you to bring a Kleenex or a tissue. And for this exercise, I'm going to ask you to turn on your cameras once again. Greta saying, could you please resend the link? Yes, I can do that during the break. Sure, great. No, and just remind me just before we get to the break, and then make sure I'll do that. But yeah, I can do that. Okay, so in a moment, I'll pause the recording. I'll ask you to turn on your camera if you are able to. And then I would like you to go, and I know some of you might be in a work setting, so you might not be able to do this. So just adapt it to whatever is possible for you. Pardon me. And I would like you to get you and your Kleenex from, pardon me, from one side of your office to the other. Okay, so how I'd like you to do that, pardon me, is I'd like you to blow that tissue across. And if it drops, then you just pick it up and you blow it again. Okay, and be like a little kind of person on your shoulder and pay attention to what you're thinking and how you're feeling when you're doing this exercise. Okay, so basically you want to get the tissue from one side of your room to the other. If you're in public, just imagine yourself doing that or adapt it in some way. So other than why the heck are we doing this? Are there any questions before I let you loose with your tissues? Any questions? And I'll just give you like 2 minutes for this. It'll be really fast. Yeah, Corinne, if you don't have a tissue and you want to use a piece of paper, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Yeah, that's great. Adapting, good for you. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, thank you, rock stars, for doing that. I bet you never thought you were going to be asked to blow a tissue across the room. So thank you for that. I will bring back the deck here in just a second. And I will, like I did before, I will explain to you the next set of lenses, and then we'll bring it back to that exercise. Okay, so the next pairs are the journey lens and the destination lens. So let me know in the chat, are you journey or destination, if you had a chance to do the assessment? So journey or destination? Hi, Sharon, welcome. So for those of you who did the assessment, are you journey or destination? So again, these lenses are opposite. And they each have a place. Okay, so Padre says journey, we've got 2 destinations so far. Okay, and again, you might be tempted to judge your lens as this is where everyone else should come to. This is the best lens. Each of the lenses have their pros, their good days, and their bad days. Veronique is a little bit more destination. Kumiko, both. Okay, nice. Christina, depends on the day. Yeah, it depends on the day. Usually extremers don't say that. You may be more of a tweener. Karina, I didn't get to see the results. Yes, you get them by email. Yeah, once you hit submit. Okay, and Maria's more destination than journey. Again, I'll put the link to the assessment when we break, which will just be in a couple of minutes. Elizabeth, it used to be destination, I think, but as of recent, I've realized the award of destination is too short term, and journey may be more important. Ooh, that's great learning. Okay, well, let's go through them. So journey on a good day. Oh, and by the way, the color for journey is purple because it's all about process. Process. And journey lenses look around. Right? That's the direction they look. Mountains look up, carrots look down, journey lenses look around. They are so focused on the process. Now, the process could be alternative dispute resolution, it could be voting, it could be consensus making, it could be the person with the biggest left toe, but it's all about process. And the focus is, the purpose is the process. Okay, the journey is the destination. On a bad day, they don't get things done or accomplished because they're too focused on the process, and they can be rigid or inflexible if they only use one process. So imagine I'm going to make an exaggerated point, just to make a point, but imagine if you have donor meeting tomorrow and you need to get your PowerPoint deck sorted, and it's quite complicated, And meanwhile, someone else is focusing on, okay, how are you feeling? How are you doing today? What did you do last weekend? What are your plans for this weekend? Meanwhile, the purpose, the destination of getting that PowerPoint deck done is not getting focused on. So that's a journey lens on a bad day. Saying for a journey lens, joy is found not in finishing an activity, but in doing it. And success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. Now, if you find yourself twitching and a little itchy, like, ooh, that drives me, that doesn't resonate, that's an indication that you're the opposite of the journey, which is the destination. Ulf, so you're a tweener. So you are a journey lens, but just barely, you just squeaked in there. Okay, our destination lenses are brown and they look straight ahead. So the journey lenses are looking around, destination looks straight ahead. They are focused on the outcome, the goal, the objective, tick that thing off the list, or tick, cross, like they just want to get things accomplished. The whole point is the destination, is to get to that destination. On a bad day, they can miss process and be a bit of a bulldozer. Again, I'm using a ridiculously extreme example just to make a point. So a destination on a bad day could look like me facilitating a meeting saying, okay, so we've all agreed to work 4 extra hours a day. Okay, great. So the next item on the agenda is, what? There's no conversation, there's no consultation. That's an extreme example of a destination on a bad day. A saying for a destination lens, and I know some of you don't have much experience with snow, but if you can imagine, a snowdrift is a beautiful thing if it doesn't lie across the path you have to shovel or block the road that leads to your destination. Or by prevailing over all obstacles and distractions, one may unfailingly arrive at his chosen goal or destination, which is a little bit of a joke because I introduced a little bit of humor there. That's Christopher Columbus said that, who was not where he thought he was in the world. Okay, so when you think about that tissue exercise, what did the journey lenses bring to that? What would they focus on in that exercise? So I asked you to move you and the Kleenex or tissue from one side to the other. What would the journey lens look like? So Ulf, it's actually the opposite, right? So the destination lens focuses on, I want to get that Kleenex to touch that wall. That is my sole purpose, right? Oh, okay, Ulf, yeah, you were testing me. You were testing me to make sure I was paying attention. Yeah, so Maria, on how the paper moved, yeah, they could focus on that as long as that would be in service of getting it to the wall faster. Doing it properly, Christina, I focused on how the tissue was flying in front of me. It was surprisingly fast. Interesting. That's a little bit more journey, right? You're focusing on the process. Sharon, getting it done and done right. Yeah, like the whole purpose of this exercise from a destination lens is getting that tissue to touch the other side of the wall. From a journey lens, they would focus on the process. How, if you were doing this with other people, they might be looking around and, okay, how is Sharon doing this? How is Ulf doing this? I did this with a group. Sometimes I use balloons, and someone tied a key to the balloon to give it more ballast, right? So really focused on the process. And not so futzed how long it was taking, not so futzed if the tissue, kind of made a circle or even went backwards. Like that would bother a destination lens, wouldn't bother so much a journey lens. Yeah, Elizabeth, destination, if it falls, pick it up and keep going quickly with purpose, right? Because you want to get that tissue to touch that wall as fast as possible. And if it happened to go backwards, that would be frustrating. For a journey lens, that might be funny or fun or amusing. And gee, can I get it to go backwards again? How did I do that, right? Like really focused on the process. Okay, so implications for communication and conflict resolution. So a journey lens is going to be focused on the process of communication and the process of conflict resolution. So let's say Ahmed and I'm just making this up. If we had a communication or a conflict issue, I might say things like, Ahmed, do you want to go for a walk and talk about this? Or what would be the most comfortable setting for you to talk about this conflict that we have between us? Or is this a good time? Or do you want to involve a third party? Maybe that would help us move through this, like really, really focused on the process. If I had a communication or conflict issue with Axel again, I'm just making this up, and I'm a destination lens, I'd be really focused on resolving that conflict. That would really be the purpose. Like, Axel, can we sit down right now and talk about this? I really want to, get this done and move through this and move ahead. So it's quite a different focus, right? And both are legitimate. They're just very, very different. Okay, so we're just on the cusp of break. So, and again, you can, if you're a member, you can get this slide deck with all of these, the summary here. So mountain lenses, big picture, vision, trends, making connections. They look up. Carrot lenses, details look down. You might look at very specific things to do with the conflict or the communication, like who's involved, where are we going to discuss this, etc. Super, super detailed. Destination lenses, what are the goals, outcomes, objectives, where are we headed? The journey lens, process. How are we going to get there? Okay, I just want to shift into break time, give you 10 minutes for a break. I've mentioned a few times that only people who are members get all of the resources. So I'll put a bunch of links here in the chat. Oh, why is it not copying? So if you're not already a member, that's weird. Here is the link to join. And please share that with a friend or a colleague. I love growing our community. If and only if you're a UN staff and you want to get credit, this counted towards your UN mandated training, feel free to sign that sheet. That's how UNON knows that you took part. And then here are a bunch of upcoming dates and topics. And then finally, actually two more things. I would love, I've changed up the beginning of the roundtable based on your feedback. So there's a feedback sheet there. And then finally, I mentioned, I can't believe this is our 10th year. November will be our anniversary. So if you'd like to be entered to win in honor of our 10 years of roundtables, feel free to leave a comment on the blog post there. So we'll see you back in 10 minutes. And also I will add the link to the assessment. So enjoy your break. Thank you so much for being here. It's such an honor to have you. Take a tea, take a stretch, and we'll see you again in 10 minutes. Thanks, everyone. Okay, Rose is catching up on work. Yeah, I hear ya. It's busy times. So welcome back. Once again, I'm so glad you're here. Theodosia has done 50% of the assessment. Good for you. Paran worked. Okay. Well, we've done 50% of the lenses, right? We've done the mountain lenses and the carrot lenses. And the difference is mountains look up, carrots look down, up for strategy, vision, concepts, down for details. And then our destination lenses look straight ahead. On a bad day, they can have their blinders on. On good days, they achieve goals, objectives, get things done, check those things off the list. And journey lenses look around because they're focused on process. So let's continue with the next set of lenses and the next activity. So grab a piece of paper. Please grab a piece of paper, or you can do this, actually do this in the chat. That would be lovely. And answer some of these questions. So you can go in order if you like. And in the chat, if you don't mind, you can put like number 1 and then what your answer is, or number 10 and what your answer is, etc. So go through some of these questions. I'll give you a couple of minutes I will pause the recording while you're doing this and pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling as you're answering some of these questions. Oh, Rita's saying it seems impossible, which you're leaking a lens here, so which is great. So let me just pause the recording. Okay, so feel free to answer these questions. Number one, what color is the letter S? Number two, what does happiness look like? Number three, what color is today? Number four, what is the shape of conflict? Number five, what does purple taste like? Number six, what does your self-image sound like? Number seven, what texture is the color green? And eight, what color is the smell of your favorite food? Number nine, what does peace look like? Number 10, what is your favorite sense? Number 11, what color is your favorite song? Number 12, what does winter sound like? And 13, what is the weight of your anger? So I'm going to read out some answers here. So because this is being recorded, I won't say the person's name, but number 8, what color is the smell of your favorite food? Someone said red. Someone said, what does happiness look like? Someone said energy. That's lovely. Number 3, what color is today? Bright and yellow. What does happiness look like? Someone said a beautiful girl. Oh. What does purple taste like? Someone said lavender. Nice. For the question, what color is your favorite song? Someone said blue and gold. Oh, for what is the weight of your anger? Someone said a heavy backpack. Nice. Let's think. So number 9, what does peace look like? Someone said a bird. What does winter sound like? Someone said AC/DC. That's great. And what does winter sound like? Someone said silence. Lovely. These are so great. Someone said, what does your self-image sound like? Someone answered with jazz. And what does peace look like? Someone said calmness. What is the weight of your anger? Someone said stone. And someone else said heavy. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for answering those questions. I know they're a little bit unusual. I'd love to know in the chat, what were you thinking or feeling when you were answering those questions? What were you thinking and feeling? And if I said to you, okay, so Pat Mercy said excited. Okay, and by the way, if you were like, oh, please let this stop, that is completely legitimate. Yeah, so Greet was annoyed. Okay. Someone said needed creativity, curious. Yeah, and again, this is, someone said surrealistic. This is a way to kind of leak your lens here. So someone else said fun. Alpha saying using my intuition, not much thinking. Oof, bingo, bingo, bingo. That's a great segue into the next pair of lenses. So people generally react quite strongly to this. If I say, oh, we're going to keep doing this for a half hour, folks will either be like, oh, this is fun. I'm feeling playful, creative. I like this. Or other folks are like, oh, I'm going to leave. This is not good. So this is a way to leak your lenses. So the next pair here of lenses, the third pair, are our heart and our head lenses. So heart is yellow, the color yellow, because red was taken with the next pair of lenses. And where our heart lenses look are to the things that are intangible. So the heart lenses are fabulous at picking up things that are intangible. Welcome, Marlon. I'm so glad you're here. So on a good day, heart lenses are very intuitive. They really have a very, very well developed intuition. They're very emotive, although don't make the mistake of thinking that that's always visible, right? So heart lenses can be very emotive, but not show any of that emotion. They're guided by their heart. They're guided by their gut. They have a really well-developed radar. If I was to meet Florence in person for the first time, if I'm a extremer heart lens, I would pay attention if the hair on the back of my neck went up, or, you know, if I thought, oh, I've just met my new best friend, or, oh, Florence, of course, I'm just making this up. Oh, there's something about Florence. There's nothing I can put my finger on, but my intuition is telling me, be careful. A lot of recent research in neuroscience is really focused on heart lenses and this connection, for example, that we have between our gut and our brain, and how many things are in our subconscious that we're not really aware of, but really drive our behavior. So on a bad day, a heart lens can be really emotionally overblown, written off by other people. This is the lens that gets written off the most, that can be the most dismissed. And on a really bad day, they could ignore logic. So believing against all proof, against all research, that the earth is flat. Okay, that's an extreme example. A saying for our heart lens: feelings or emotions are the universal language and are to be honored. They are the authentic expression of who you are at your deepest place. So generally speaking, heart lenses love this exercise. It's playful. It doesn't make sense, right? It doesn't make sense. So they can use their intuition and creativity and just really have fun with it. And we have a lot to learn from heart lenses. So for example, if we go back to these questions, I think everyone who answered the question, what color is today, answered with one question. So if we're really pulling on our heart lens, we could say things like, my today is a burnt umber towards the bottom, and then that the color changes to this really vibrant, verdant green with these kind of, again, kind of turquoise, sparkly things. And then in behind that is this beautiful, beautiful color of rose. Now, a head lens, the opposite of a heart lens, might say, what did you just have in your tea, right? But I'm just really being playful and really focusing on a heart lens and what they have to offer. So wild creativity. Let me know in the chat who assessed as a heart lens, for those of you who did the assessment, and who assessed as a head lens. So let me know in the chat. And remember, the gift of the lenses is to know your lens and the strength of that lens, and then to know the other lens and draw on the strength of that lens. So Christina is a heart, Padma is heart, Ulf is a strong head, Axel was quite a strong heart. Elizabeth didn't do the assessment, but love this exercise. Yeah, the exercise is really telling. So generally speaking, heart lenses really like it. I was doing this for a UN team once, and one person, and he turned out to be an extremer head lens. He left the room. He was so annoyed. He was like, what do you mean, what color is the letter S? It's black. Like, he was being incredibly literal. Okay, so let's go on to the partner, right? The mirror image of the heart lens is our head lenses. So on a good day, logic, information, theory, facts, proof, very objective, the head lenses are not the ones who are going to repeat things they've heard online if they don't know the source, right? So very logical, very fact-driven. On a bad day, and of course, facts, the head lenses are black. And as the heart lenses look to the things that you can't see, taste, or touch, they're intangible. How are we feeling? The head lenses look to the tangible. I want to focus on things I can see, touch, taste, things I have proof of. So on a bad day, they can miss those really important intangible things. They don't acknowledge or use their intuition. I once did this workshop and I had someone say to me, what do you mean intuition? Like, I don't even really understand what that word means, right? And that's a head lens. Potentially lack creativity. Oftentimes creativity are these wild unusual leaps from one thing to another, or joining things that are one wouldn't logically think went together. And I always forget which went first, but it was either the ballpoint pen led to the invention of roll-on deodorant, or the other way around, right? Like, what does a pen and deodorant have in common? So that can be hard for head lenses. And a saying for a head lens: facts are stubborn things, and whatever may be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts and evidence. Kimiko saying, can you give a listing of important intangible things other than emotions? It's basically emotions. It's basically your intuition, how you're feeling, your radar. It's that hair going up on the back of your neck. It's that sense. You couldn't, there's no proof of it, but when you walk into a room, you take a read of that room and you think, I'm good, I'm safe, I can relax here, or oh, I couldn't tell you why, there's no logical reason, but something's off. So it's things like that. Kimiko, does that happen? You agree with John Adams? Yeah. So that's a really good pointer for you, Kimiko, that the head lens potentially is your strength. That's where you shine. That's what seems normal, natural, and right to you. And the gift of the lenses is to look to the other. So when you get stuck on something, you may literally think about, okay, it might feel awkward, uncomfortable, and foreign, but I'm going to put the heart lens on right now and see what perspective I get, because I guarantee it'll change your view. It'll change your view. So implications for communication and conflict resolution. So head lenses will focus on the facts. So Kimiko, I know we're having a conflict. Of course, I'm making this up. Can you tell me, tell me what happened? I know we're having a conflict based on the meeting yesterday. Can you tell me what happened from your perspective? Can you kind of tell me the facts as you see them? And then I might ask you something around from a heart lens perspective. So how did that make you feel? And that's where you can kind of dig into, oh, I embarrassed you. Oh, okay, I wasn't aware of that. Can you tell me a little bit more about your feelings around that? And a really simple way to communicate both with head and heart lenses, this is so simple and so powerful. It will also give you an indication if someone's a head lens or heart lens, is to, in the same sentence, say, what were you thinking and how are you feeling? And unconsciously, people will respond with their lens. So they will respond either with feelings or with facts. So it's quite interesting to do that. Really, really simple. Okay, questions, comments, anything before we go on to our last? You're so welcome, Kimiko. And by the way, I really want to acknowledge that putting on a different lens can feel really uncomfortable. It doesn't, at the beginning when you're practicing, it doesn't feel very comfortable. And there is gold there, like right under your nose, right? Or maybe, you just take one set of glasses off right in front of your eyes. It opens up whole new possibilities of how to move forward with conflict and communication. Okay, give me a thumbs up if, Elizabeth is saying, thanks for pointing that out. It's just what I've been thinking. It would feel fake to start, I think. Yeah. Yeah, and you may have noticed, or you may not have noticed, in each of the exercises, I have said to you, pay attention to what you're thinking and feeling. And people disregard one and pick up on the other quite naturally. But now, as you are learning about the lenses, you can focus on both of them and see the treasures in both of them. Okay, so give me a thumbs up if we're okay to go on to the last pair. So we've done 3 pairs so far. We've only got 1 more to go. Are we okay to move on? Just give me a thumbs up. Okay, I see some thumbs up. Okay, so I invite you to grab a piece of paper and a pen and have that in front of you. And I would like you please to not look at that paper. So it's important to not look at that paper. Oh, there's a question from Diana. Does the heart and head lens have any connection with IQ and EQ? Oh, definitely emotional intelligence. Yeah, so the great question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. Heart lenses definitely have tend to have really strong emotional intelligence. Yeah, they can recognize when different emotions. Actually, as the blog posted, there's a fascinating research by Google that looked into what makes really, really great teams, and tens of thousands of pieces of data, really fact-driven, really, really head-driven, fascinating results. They came up with two things. One is really great teams that work really well together. Everyone speaks roughly equally. So everyone speaks roughly equally. And number two, so that's kind of a head thing, right? You can monitor that and make sure that people are participating. Number two, wildly heart focused, which is that people can correctly identify and notice and pay attention to people's emotions. They can correctly read those emotions. So thanks for asking that, Diana. And there is a blog post that I've written about that. I'm not sure if it's posted or not, but it's coming up. So you can look at that if that's interesting to you. And this is my blog link if you wanted to have that. Okay, so piece of paper in front of you. And I know this is a bit strange, but I'm going to ask you to do some things. And without look, I'm going to ask you to make some marks on that paper. And I'm going to ask you to not look at the piece of paper while you're doing this. So you can either close your eyes or you can just look up or look away. So have your piece of paper and your pen. Don't look at your piece of paper. This will take a minute or two. So on the left-hand side of your paper, please draw a tree. On the left-hand side of your paper, please draw a tree. Hi, Karina. Thanks for joining us. We're just doing a quick exercise. You need to have a piece of paper and a pen and not look at your paper and just follow along the instructions. But it's just important that you not look at the piece of paper while you're following these instructions. Okay, left-hand side, you've drawn a tree. Right-hand side, please draw a house. So please draw a house on the right-hand side. Oh, you're in and out because of bad internet. Yeah, thank you for doing your best. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay, so you've got a house on the right-hand side and a tree on the left-hand side. On the left-hand side in that tree is a bird's nest. Please put a bird's nest in the tree that you drew. Please draw a bird's nest in the tree. And then that beautiful house that you drew has a lovely path from the front door, kind of a winding path from the front door. So please add a path to that house. And remember to not look at your paper. Okay, and in that bird's nest, there's a baby bird. Please put a baby bird in that bird's nest. So you've got a tree and a bird's nest and now a baby bird. And that house has at least one window. If you've already drawn a window, it has another window. And there's some flowers growing in a little box outside that window. So please draw that. You're just about done. And then that tree that has the nest in it, that has the baby bird in it, that baby bird is eating a worm. So please put a worm in its beak. Please put a worm in the baby bird's beak. And then finally, that house has a chimney with some smoke coming out of it. And if you already drew a chimney, it has another chimney with some more smoke. And when you finish that, you can take a look at your masterpiece. So take a look. And let me know, how was that exercise for you? Greet saying, this is so funny and impossible. Anyone else? So that's kind of an interesting statement, actually, Greet. If we go, we're on different lenses now, but if we go back to the head and heart, she answered that with both. So funny, that's the heart lens, and impossible, that's very task driven. So that's the head lens. So interesting, your comment on that. Okay. Theodosia is like, oh, OMG. Axel, it was impossible. Elizabeth, annoying when it got to the worm stage. Great. I love that you noticed that. Thank you for paying attention. Piran, it was cool. Oh, much better than expected. Almost everyone says that when they look at it. There's always squeals of delight when I do this in person. And people like, look. Elizabeth, but pretty good results. Good. Ahmed, you don't want to see my bird. Piran, we want to share. Oh, yes, you can certainly take a picture and then upload it in the chat. That would be great. Wei, need some tricks and plan to be able to do a good job. Oh, okay, so that's a great segue, Wei, into our next and final pair of lenses, because it depends on how you determine what a good job is. So the final pair of lenses is our stop and go lenses. So stop lenses are red for evident reasons, and stop lenses look inside. Let's think. Diana's saying it felt okay because I knew I wasn't going to be judged. Okay. Florence, all scattered all over, and Veronica laughing at my own drawing. Cool. Nice. Okay. So stop lenses look inside. And I mentioned to you that I have an extremer stop lens kid. So his number one inclination is to hit the brake. Let me pause. Let me think. Let me ruminate. I'm going to be cautious. I want to know, what are the rules, the expectations, the procedures. I want to think about things, and then I'll take action once I have a plan. On a bad day, stop lenses can have analysis paralysis. Okay, again, I'm going to make this really extreme just to make a point, but I can't take a decision. I need to do 50 more interviews, read 100 more books, read 50 more research papers, and then I'll take action. They can be sometimes a bit of a pessimist and miss opportunities because they may take too long with the analysis piece before taking action. So they can miss opportunities. Sayings for stop lens is wait, and caution is the parent of security. Oh, people are sharing their drawings here. That's great. Thank you, Marianne. Result is probably better if I had my eyes open. Oh, interesting. Okay. And Carlotta, you had a problem. Okay, I'm so glad you're back. And thank you for being persistent with the technology, Carlotta. So those are stop lenses. And in terms of this exercise, stop lenses tend to make a plan with it. So I've had people, once they realize that I'm flipping back and forth, really make a hard line on the tree and the house so that there's an indentation that they can feel with their finger going back and forth. So stop lenses don't want to be rushed. They want to think about things. They want to have a plan, things like that. And they might also be a little bit upset if that nest wasn't in the tree and the bird wasn't in the nest and the worm wasn't in the bird's mouth. The mirror opposite to our stop lenses are our go lenses, and I have an extremer go lens kid. By the way, so one of my kids, the extremer stop lens, in a perfect world, especially when he was younger, he didn't like to get gifts that he didn't first know what those gifts were going to be. Now, this is an extremer stop lens. And the reason for that is because he didn't want to be surprised. And he didn't want to let people down by having the wrong reaction, right? So he really needed to be thoughtful and have a plan, and that helped him feel prepared, and then he could take action. My extremer go life lens kid is like his first inclination hit the gas, take action, be spontaneous, do something. Stop lenses are tend to be risk averse. Go lenses are let's embrace the adventure of life. They make decisions fast because they want to take the action, right? The action is their first place to go. They take action and then they reflect. So it's the opposite. Stop lenses reflect and then take action. Go lenses take action and then they reflect on that. On a bad day, they can be impulsive and reckless, right? They can leap off of that cliff and uh-oh, there's no water down there. Sayings for a go lens are go, or every blade of grass has an angel bending over it, whispering grow. Or sure, let's try it. Or we must walk consciously only part way towards our goal and then leap in the dark to your success, right? So really, really different. Implications for communication and conflict resolution. So if you are a go lens and you're talking to a stop lens, the big gift for them is to give them time. So even if you don't have very much time, you may say something like, Karina, I know, I'm just making this up, Karina, I know that in a perfect world, we'd have some more time before taking a decision on this issue. Can we come back together in an hour? So we'll take a little bit of time to think about things and then come back together in an hour and make a decision. If you flip that, so a stop lens talking to a go lens, you can gently get them to consider some of the implications of their actions, right? That can be a real gift to them. So as we slide into our conclusion here, we've got about 10 minutes left. So stop lenses, they like to take their time, have time to practice, think, reflect, ask questions. Please don't rush me. That is really something that bothers stop lenses. Whereas go lenses, their gift is let's try it. Let's experiment. Let's jump in with both feet. Head lenses, their gift is really focusing on that research, that theory, those best practices, frameworks. They'll cite their sources. They are not going to put information forward unless they know it has a good source. Juan is also sharing his image there, so feel free, folks, if you want to continue to do that. That's great in the chat. Head lenses will, here are a bunch of sources you can go to get more information. And then heart lenses, they're really good at that mission, vision, value, motivation. How are we feeling? Let's take the pulse of the team. Oh, everyone's exhausted. We just need, some time to do some team building or get to know each other better, those kinds of things. And they're really good knowing what their gut is telling them and their instinct. As a summary here, so you can literally practice doing this in your head. So a mountain, okay, what would happen if I look up? What is the big picture telling me? Or a carrot lens, what happens if I look down and really focus on the details right now? If I'm a stop lens, let's look inside. Let's reflect, let's think, let's just take a pause. Let's press the brake for a moment. Go lens, let's look externally, let's press the gas and experiment. Let's try something. Destination lenses, look ahead. What are our gifts, or rather, what are our goals, our objectives? Where are we headed? That's their gift. And the journey is, how are we going to get there? We're going to look around at the process. How are we going to get there? What's the process? Head lenses, facts, research, etc. And heart lenses are those intangible things, the gifts of our instinct and our intuition. Marlene is saying, this is awesome to see different perspectives of the same reality. Yes, it can be the exact same reality. That's what started the Life Lens design for me, is that people can experience the same thing entirely differently. So some tips here, if you are trying to work with a mountain on, a conflict issue or communication, just spare some of the details, right? Just pick the details that are most important. Carrots, a really big task can feel like climbing Mount Everest. So just help them take the first step towards that really big goal. Yeah, Mount Kenya, right? One. Yeah, a big task can seem like Mount Kenya backwards, with no oxygen, no help, right? So just help them with that very first step. Journey lens, if you have really, really, really specific goals, that can seem restrictive. So help them really help them elaborate their gifts of the process. Destination lenses, it's the flip of that, right? Process can seem really binding. Like, I just want to get to the goal, right? I just want to, that's my concern. Stop lenses, doing things too quickly, too fast, can seem brash, dangerous even. And go lenses, oh, come on. Reflecting can seem like we're not doing anything. We haven't started yet. Go lenses can often feel like we haven't done anything, even though stop lenses have really focused on the reflection, the research piece. For head lenses, feelings can seem wishy-washy and unfounded, and heart lenses, facts can seem uncaring and unfounded. Okay, so again, if you think of a particular communication issue or a conflict issue, you apply these lenses to them, and it will really, I promise you, it will really, really help and give you at least 4 different new views, right? The lenses that you don't easily naturally wear. So we're just about finished for our day today. I asked you at the beginning, is it better to breathe in or breathe out? And you had lots of opinions on that. Now I'll ask you, why do we take a breath in? Why do we breathe in? To survive, Theodosia, yeah. What else? To pause, yeah. Kamiko, because we need oxygen, yes. To concentrate, Puran, to get oxygen, Elizabeth, to get energy, Padmercy, yeah. Wait, to breathe out. Oh, that's kind of it. That's kind of it. So what actually triggers us to breathe in and get that oxygen is the presence of too much CO2, too much carbon dioxide. So it is the presence of the opposite of oxygen that triggers that need to take a breath in. And I think that is so symbolic and fits the life lenses so well. So it's a little bit like, could you cut a penny or a shilling or whatever your currency is, in half? I mean, you could do it, but you need really special equipment to do that. So it's like yin and yang, right? When we look at whatever our lenses is, we take the good with the bad. We take the good days, also recognizing that we have the bad days, and that it's the opposite lens that can fill in that gap, that can fill in that hole. So it is the presence of the CO2 that triggers the need to take a breath, and then you've got everything working in harmony, which I think is really cool, right? And just to try, I know it's really hard, especially when we're overwhelmed, we're stressed, we're tired. We've been through 2.5 years of a global pandemic. It's really hard to value other. It's really deceptively easy, but it's not healthy to look at our way of being as the best way of being. And not only that, but everyone else should join me in this particular point on the continuum. So I wish you good travels and moving up and down that continuum when you're resolving conflict, when you're communicating. And know that, when you are trying to change these perspectives, it's not just, it's just not like taking something out. Instead, it's going to take some time, for those new beliefs to take their place alongside the old ones, but they will become stronger and they'll give you a different way to think and to act. This is Carol Dweck's amazing book, Mindset. So we're just about done. Any questions? Ask me a question or offer some advice if you have any advice about using these lenses. What questions do you have for me? How would you define behavior change? Oh, that's an interesting question, Elizabeth. So taking a behavior change, I mean, in this instance, would mean consciously, deliberately trying to wear a different pair of lenses and then taking action. So for example, if I'm a go lens, and I know that you're a stop lens, Elizabeth, it might be saying something like, I know ideally we'd have more time, but we actually have, only a couple of hours until we have to make this decision. So can we come back and meet again in 2 hours? So that's an example of trying something new. Theodosia, it would be great to have in another training a bit of role playing. Yeah. So when I do longer workshops, I actually do that, and I'll say I'll ask you to pretend that you're USG or your executive director, or who's ever head of your organization. You've got their gold card in your pocket, and everyone has. I have a whole bunch of different color glasses, and people play those different lenses and have to decide what to do with that gold card. Okay, folks are. So Marlon, on average, how much practice is needed to make it habitual? I think that really depends on the individual. So yeah, just jump in and practice and have fun with it. You're welcome, Juan. Okay, just any other questions? Okay, so as we go forward, you did a lot of work. So congratulations, congratulations. I did give you that quite sheet, so you can reflect on this, that worksheet that I gave you at the beginning. And then remember, I always get questions about this afterwards. So do remember that it's only the members of the Roundtable, which is free, that get the PowerPoint, the audio recording, the video recording, and the workbook. And by the way, the video recording is all timestamped, so you can go into the particular place that you want. Please help grow our community. So please, please, please share that membership link above. And if you are a UN staff person and you want to get this recorded against your training, please make sure that you fill in that attendance sheet today. And here is a bunch of information about upcoming meetings are all coming there. And there's a feedback survey, and you get a fun little surprise at the end. And then finally, just to say thank you, like it's been, November will be 10 years of doing this roundtable. So if you leave a comment on that blog post there, that link that I left, you get a chance to win my very first online ban boring online meeting courses. So thanks everyone. Really, really appreciate your time, your attention. Your colleagues, your family, your community will benefit from you focusing on this.